Now that we have the side navs working, let's improve their behavior. For example, we can update the left panel where it pushes the main content to the side of the left main navigation. This way the user could still interact within the main content of the page and the navigation panel at the same time. Angular Material provides great documentation on the different modes that we could use within the matte side nav and also the matte drawer. Let's take a look at how we could configure those options. Within the Angular Material documentation inside of the side nav component, on the right, if you select the changing the side nav behavior, select this. This section includes the examples of the 3 modes that you could use within your side nav. By default, our side navs are set to over, and that means our side navs will overlay the content. If we scroll down, we could even see an example of that here. So here we have the side, and then if you select the toggle, you can see there's no backdrop, and it's pushing the content off to the right. Now, if we reselect over, you see the backdrop, and it's over the content. And that goes for the push. This has the backdrop, and it pushes the content to the right. Our left side panel will use the side, and the right side panel we want to use the over. We'll go ahead and set the over to the right panel, even though we don't need to because it's already being set by that over by default. Let's configure our side nav modes. Inside of the pages component HTML, and inside of the side nav we set up in the last video, we'll make the changes to our main nav sidebar. This one we want to add the mode attribute, and the setting is side. This will push the content to the right with no backdrop. Our setting panel is set to the mode of over by default, so we don't need to set the mode attribute, but I just want to set that so people following along will know what mode this is in, so I'll add in over. By using this side, we will not have a backdrop, but this over will give us a backdrop. We could disable all backdrops to this entire container by using the Angular Material has backdrop. Let's add that here. So I'll enter in has backdrop, and then you can set that to false. This will remove all backdrops for both side navs. That's the only changes we need to make. Now we'll test this in the browser. Back in the browser, you'll notice that the main content now shifts to the right when the left side panel is open. Also, there's no dark overlay or backdrop because we're using the side mode. Now the right panel, this is using the over mode, so this still shows up over our main content. We disabled the backdrop for the main container, and that's why we're not seeing the backdrop for the main content for the right panel now. Let's add back in that backdrop for the right panel because that looked pretty good. And also we'll update the width of the left panel because this is taking up a lot of room over here on the left. And we'll set that to like 250 pixels for the width. Back inside of the container here, I'll remove this. And then also I'll add in a commented out section. And that should add back in our backdrop for our right panel. Now for setting the width for our left side panel, I'll add a class here. And I'll call it main nav. Then we could target that to set a CSS width. Let's open up our pages CSS file. And towards the bottom here, I'll add another rule. Targeting our main nav, and we'll set a width to 300 pixels. Let's test it in the browser one more time. We adjusted the width for our left side panel. We probably could go a little less, but let's add in our Angular Material list before we do that. But 300 pixels looks pretty good for that. And then our right side panel now, we added back in that dark overlay when the right panel is open, and that looks really good. Now in the next video, let's clean up these buttons up here by adding in a Angular Material toolbar. And we'll do that in the next video.